For birthdays and at Christmas, my family gives me gadgets and gizmos, pricey toys which excite my fancy but ultimately rarely leave their boxes. There's a food dehydrator, an electric carving knife, and a bread making machine, and last year's present, a pair of see-in-the-dark binoculars. On Christmas Day, I had put the batteries in the binoculars and had walked about the basement in the dark, too impatient even to wait until nightfall, stalking a flock of imaginary starlings. Afterward, I had put the device back in the box, and it sat there still in my office, beside the box of computer cables and forgotten bits and pieces. Perhaps, I thought, if the creature, dog or cat or raccoon or what have you, were to see me sitting on the porch, it would not come. So I took a chair to the box and coat room, a little larger than a closet, which overlooks the porch, and then and when everyone in the house was asleep, I went out onto the porch and bade the black cat good night. That cat, my wife had said, when he first arrived, is a person. And there was something person-like in his huge leonine face, his broad black nose, his greenish-yellow eyes, his fanged but amiable mouth still leaking amber pus from the lower right lip. I stroked his head and scratched beneath his chin, and I wished him well. Then I went inside and turned off the light on the porch. I sat in my chair in the darkness inside the house with the see-in-the-dark binoculars on my lap. I had switched the binoculars on, and a trickle of greenish light came from the eyepieces. Time passed in the darkness. I struggled to keep awake, found myself profoundly missing cigarettes and coffee, my two lost addictions. Either of them would have kept my eyes open, but before I had tumbled too far into the world of sleep, a yowl from the garden jerked me fully awake. I fumbled the binoculars to my eyes and was disappointed to see it was merely Snowflake, the black cat, the white cat, streaking across the front garden like a patch of greenish-white light. She vanished into the woodland to the left of the house and was gone. I was about to settle myself back down when it occurred to me to wonder what exactly had startled Snowflake so. And I began scanning the middle distance with the binoculars, looking for a huge raccoon, a dog, or a vicious possum. And there was indeed something coming down the driveway toward the house. I could see it through the binoculars, clear as day. It was the devil. I had never seen the devil before, and although I had written about him in the past, if pressed, would have confessed that I had no belief in him, other than as an imaginary figure, tragic and Miltonian. The figure coming up the driveway was not Milton's Lucifer. It was the devil. My heart began to pound in my chest, to pound so hard that it hurt. I hoped it could not see me, that in the dark house behind the window glass I was hidden. The figure flickered and changed as it walked up the drive. One moment it was dark, bull-like, minotaurish. The next it was slim and female. And the next it was a cat itself, a scarred, huge, gray-green wildcat, its face contorted with hate. There are steps that lead up to my porch, 4 white wooden steps in need of a coat of paint. At the bottom of the steps, the devil stopped and called out something that I could not understand, 3, perhaps 4 words in a whining, howling language that must have been old and forgotten when Babylon was young. And although I did not understand the words, I felt the hairs rise on the back of my head as it called. And then I heard, muffled through the glass, but still audible, a low growl, a challenge, and slowly, unsteadily, a black figure walked down the steps of the house away from me toward the devil. These days, the black cat no longer moved like a panther. Instead, he stumbled and rocked like a sailor only recently returned to land. The devil was a woman now. She said something soothing and gentle to the cat in a tongue that sounded like French and reached out a hand to him. He sank his teeth into her arm and her lip curled and she spat at him. The woman glanced up at me then, and if I had doubted that she was the devil before, I was certain of it now. The woman's eyes flashed red at me, and you can see no red through the night vision binoculars, only shades of green. And the devil saw me through the window. It saw me. I am in no doubt about that at all. The devil twisted and writhed, and now it was some kind of a jackal, a flat-faced, huge-headed, bull-necked creature, halfway between a hyena and a dingo. There were maggots squirming in his mangy fur, and he began to walk up the steps. The black cat leapt upon it, and in seconds they became a rolling, writhing thing, moving faster than my eyes could follow. All this in silence, and then a low roar. Down the country road at the bottom of our drive in the distance lumbered a late-night truck, its blazing headlights burning bright as green suns through the binoculars. I lowered them from my eyes and saw only darkness, and then gentle yellow of headlights, and then the red of rear lights as it vanished off again into nowhere at all. When I raised the binoculars once more, there was nothing to be seen, only the black cat on the steps, staring up into the air. I went out onto the porch and picked up the black cat and stroked him and said kind, soothing things to him. He mewed piteously when I first approached him, but after a while he went to sleep in my lap. And I put him into his basket and went upstairs to my bed to sleep myself. There was dried blood on my t-shirt and jeans the following morning. That was a week ago. The thing that comes to my house does not come every night, but it comes most nights. We know it by the wounds on the cat and the pain I can see behind those leonine eyes. He has lost the use of his left front paw, and his right eye has closed for good. I wonder what we did to deserve the black cat. I wonder who sent him. And selfish and scared, I wonder how much more he has to give.